Aquí las mejores ofertas son para todos con una variedad de planes.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
En AT&T les damos a todos nuestras mejores ofertas en cada smartphone.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching NowMedia Television.
Hey everyone, this is attorney Mac Pierre-Louis, lawyer, mediator, arbitrator. I'm working throughout Florida and Texas. And welcome back to Legal Talk. And I'm here with my partner in crime, Natalia. What's going on?
Natalia Orłowska-Tajka from Warsaw, remotely, but with all my heart in Texas, where I'm going to be doing some more episodes in person soon. And together with us in this episode, Tye Bourdony.
Hey, Tye. Good to see you again.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Good. We'll get you on camera. All right. So, Tye, we're here today to discuss HOAs, homeowners associations, that institution that so many people dread and are fearful of. But there's ways you can resolve some of the problems that HOAs can bring into your life. But Tye, wanted to just do this episode to talk about HOA issues, as well as how HOA liens and levies and fines can be worked out through the mediation process. So tell us a little bit, Tye, about the dilemma that many homeowners find themselves in when they deal with the HOAs.
Yeah, so, people have issues. We have hard times that we fall on, and bills don't get paid. And so then people have to start deciding, what are they not going to pay? And they don't pay electric bill or this other bill, the mortgage, and they tend to forget about or not worry about the HOA, the Homeowners Association. That's a mistake. I would rather pay the Homeowners Association first and not pay my mortgage. Now, I want to be real careful how I say that. We should all pay our mortgage, of course, but the homeowners associations, especially here in Florida, they are really tough to deal with, especially once they're suing you and you're in foreclosure. They will foreclose on you for the homeowners association fees. It's a shame. It's tough. Folks should pay the homeowner association fees first. If nothing else, take that to heart, right? Don't let it get to the point where they are suing you, because then you are going to be paying thousands of dollars in attorney's fees. And so you want to deal with it before it gets to court. That's the bottom line moral of the story. Want to deal with those issues before it gets to court. And if it gets to court, please talk to an attorney who can help you with those issues. Let me give it back to you to lead us the next portion.
So, Tye, this is really something important, because a lot of homeowners think they can do whatever they want because they're already owners. And, okay, this is our European perspective, but America's ownership is the sanctified law and the right of everyone. But from what you are saying, it is really limited by homeowners associations. And why do you think that it is that we do need to worry about it? And why do you think we should be looking for ways out? And what is then the best way to deal with HOA so that they do not sue you at all?
Pay the fees. Pay your monthly HOA fees. Wait, let me back up. If you don't want to deal with an HOA, don't buy something that has a homeowners association. But there's plenty of good things about homeowners associations. They make sure that the common areas are taken care of. They make sure that everything looks nice when you go home. I mean, there's really good reasons for homeowners association. But, there's a price to pay for a homeowners association. And that is you have to pay your quarterly or your monthly assessments. That's what you need to do. It's part of owning a home. And so actually when you sign on the document, the contract to buy your home in that area, in that, subdivision, you're agreeing to abide by the HOA's rule. So, that being the case, you want to make sure that you pay your homeowners association fees. Plain and simple. If you're going to have an issue with someone, don't let it be the HOA. They could be so hard to get, not to deal with, but to get back up to, like, if your payments stop getting paid for months and months and months and months, well, not only do you have to pay those fees, but any assessments and any costs and fees, those have to get paid first before the regular fees that you owe get paid. And it adds up fast. And then if they get an attorney involved, it becomes thousands of dollars. And I've seen folks lose their home because they didn't pay their HOA fees. Listen, let the HOA fees be on top of your list of things that need to get paid, okay? Because you don't want to lose your home because of the assessment that may only, they can be very expensive, they can be affordable, but it adds up. So don't forget about your homeowners association fees. And if you have an issue with them, get legal advice. Get legal advice fast. And in Texas, and I hope that, Mac, as a Texas attorney, will be able to, elaborate a little more. But the Homeowners Protection Bureau in Texas and the Texas Homeowners Association laws, Google those, because as I was looking, there's some really great information on there that can help folks if they don't know where to start. But an attorney who deals with HOA issues is probably the best place to start. You just don't want to mess around with HOAs. Pay your HOA fees, everybody. Pay them first, and then worry about what other bills you're not going to pay.
So, Tye, how does one, try to make sure they don't get sued by the HOA? And I'll
Good question.
give this little story first. So I was a lawyer for, I think this was for the ex-husband in a case in Texas some years back. And we're in front of the judge, and we were basically having an argument about whether or not a piece of property should have been sold. And it wasn't. You can imagine it was an enforcement claim. And long story short, ex-husband, ex-wife were in front of the judge. Both sides have lawyers. We're arguing whose fault it was. But there's a third lawyer who was there as well, and that was the HOA's attorney. Mm-hmm. Because they have a stake as well, because not only was this home not properly listed for sale, but also whoever was living there failed to pay the HOA. And so the HOA doesn't have a dog in a fight when it comes to a divorce case. They just care about getting their money because rules are rules as the HOA sees it. So I remember that it made a point to me, and that is HOAs always get paid. If they sue you, they're always going to win because they have the law on their side. So this is why I think prevention is the best medicine. Make sure you don't get sued in the first place. Yeah. Because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more expensive, right? So what are some ways you can help guarantee that you do not get sued?
By the way, great story and great perspective. Now, I will also say that when it does get too late, and please, everyone, you need to talk to the appropriate attorney in this regard as well. Bankruptcy, when people are going through the issues that they're going through, something that can help in foreclosures, that can also help with HOAs, is bankruptcy, because it's an unsecured debt. But this isn't there's no time for us to really go into that. Speak to a bankruptcy attorney in that regard. But to go back to your point, prevention absolutely is the best way to deal with HOAs. And before their attorneys get involved, give them a call. Keep them abreast of what's going on. Let them know, listen, I'm sorry, I know I didn't pay. What arrangements can I make? make arrangements with your HOA. For the most part, they're going to work with you as best as they can. But I think, Mac, you're absolutely right. They will get paid. Short of something like bankruptcy, they will get paid. And so just don't put yourself in the position that you now have to deal with an HOA. Because, of all the attorneys that I mediate with, the HOA attorneys are sometimes the scariest ones, to be quite honest with you. They will get paid, and the fees are so contact your HOA, make arrangements with them. Oftentimes, they are very willing to come to a payment plan with you to figure things out, and so don't ignore them. On the contrary, call them first. I'm going through a hard time. This is what's happening. How can I work with you? How can you work with me? And stay on their good side. Now, with that said, HOAs can also be, sometimes there's reasons that we have issues with our HOAs. They can be really tough to deal with sometimes. So by the same token, you can also, I think one of the last segments I did was the hard power of a soft complaint. You can complain against your HOA as well, but please, be careful, but if they are being, a little just draconian, when you complain against them, typically their attorney has to, answer. And if it's a complaint that you're sending in before anything has been filed, they're not going to charge you for that. And they don't like spending their money. Please understand what I am saying. I'm saying if they're they're just not dealing with you, or they're doing something that's wrong, you can always complain. But for the most part, the best thing to do is to deal with your HOA. Try and be nice and professional. And if you're having a problem, let them know and keep them as your friends. You don't want your HOA to be your enemy, because they will get.
And I wanted to actually start from that when you just stopped, Tye, because I also have a story from the other side of the globe, from Poland. Homeowners associations exist here as well, so there is no way to escape them, no matter if you're in the States or in Europe. But I wanted to tell you that my client, who was getting advice from some other attorney, came to me having already the homeowners association debt, because this previous attorney told her that because she's going through divorce, she should be paying only half of the amount that is due to homeowners association, because the other half should be paid by her husband, which of course he never did. And the debt acquired, and the debt was rising up and rising up. But there is, of course, a good ending in this entire story, because she went to those people and negotiated something quite interesting. At that point, she was very, very weak with money, but she wanted to do something. And homeowners association agreed that she does some physical work for the association. So she was actually doing some paperwork, but that was accounted for what she was owing to the HOA. But having said that, it is like trying to compromise with them. And I wanted to ask you now, Tye, mediation. I think that part of those things you are now giving us as your pieces of advice and understanding, this is actually taken from your mediation experience. Tell me what you have seen in mediation with HOAs when it comes to their fees.
Right, and thank you for segueing into, mediation, because yes, in Florida as in Texas, there is a dispute resolution process, and I'll ask Mac to check this out for me. I believe through the Homeowners Protection Bureau or the Texas Homeowners Association.
All right.
No, I think it's the. Go ahead.
Gonna get into a commercial. Yeah. All right, we'll be right back. Okay.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations, ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here to provide support and legal representation at no cost to you. Call us today at 713-221-3773.
Hey, welcome back to Legal Talk.
Welcome back after the break. And we want to continue with the Homeowners Association's topics, which we have just started, and wanted to ask Tye some more things about mediation and how it works. And Mac, I think that you will have also some questions about that. And Tye was actually looking for some verification from you, how these things work in Texas.
Yeah, Tye, did you want to finish up your thoughts about mediation?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, so when a case in Florida is brought by the Homeowners Association, they automatically will send those cases to mediation. Now, as I understand it, in Texas, you can request it, and I think it's through the Homeowners Protection Bureau. Mac, I'll ask you to either check that and bring it back, and or what's your experience in Texas with respect to homeowners associations and mediation?
So, as I'm not a real estate attorney, I do mainly family law work. Real estate touches a whole lot when it comes to the family. A lot of people own homes. Sometimes they go through divorce, and whenever they do, sometimes bills don't get paid. Things fall through the cracks, or somebody separates, or even an estate planning case might come up and impacts the family, and the HOA wants to make sure that the community stays vibrant, that property values remain high. And so, just like any lawsuit, a person can seek alternative dispute resolution to try to work out their differences. So any kind of insurance issue, especially when that involves the HOA, is going to fall into the insurance code, which of course encourages dispute resolution. So I'm not too sure about the organization that you have to go through, but I know that you as an individual can, of course, reach out to the other side, to your opponent, and invite them to mediation and possibly even arbitration. Okay, so you have to read the fine prints of your deed restrictions and your HOA documents to make sure you know what your rights are. But before you do any of that, like Tye suggested earlier, you might want to talk to a lawyer first, especially an attorney who does real estate transactions for a living.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Very, very important. But the fact of the matter is, folks can go to mediation. And in mediation, what you're going to do is, most likely, they're going to come up with a payment plan. They're going to figure out a way to get you back on track so that your home doesn't get foreclosed. The only problem there is, at that point, typically attorneys are involved, so these fees are really much more higher. And so this is why you want to take care of it before it gets there. But if it does, it is what it is. And rather than lose your home, well, then you're going to be in a payment plan that may include attorney's fees, as well as all of the fees, the late fees and what have you. All of that has to get paid before the principal on what you owe has to get paid. But at the end of the day, mediation can help you not get foreclosed on, FYI. But yes, speak to an attorney. They're going to be able to get you through it as best as possible, because you don't want any missteps in this regard, right? You want to keep your home. So Don't ignore them. Pay them first. Don't let it get too far. If it gets too far, call an attorney. And then if it's still going on, try and fix it in mediation. And hopefully folks don't lose their home.
And when things come to insurance claims and homeowners association, the picture gets even more complicated. Can you tell us why? And I understand that also gets back to some bad fame of insurance lawyers as well. The mediation when it comes to insurance claims and homeowners associations is even more tricky.
Yeah, so where insurance, homeowners denied claims or homeowners claims are concerned, you don't often see them together. I suppose you can see them together, but, a hurricane comes through or some extreme weather event happens and there's damage to your home, right? And so I like to think of this in a very practical perspective. Hopefully, parties, homeowners can deal with the insurance carriers without having to go to court. And so really my thinking right now is, what are the practical ways that I have seen homeowners be able to figure this process out? And so I wrote a couple of things down. Okay, so there's some extreme weather event, something happened. The first thing, take pictures, a lot of pictures, take videos, and make sure you document what's happened, right? One. Secondly, timely inform your insurance carrier of what has gone on. A lot of times we also have an insurance broker. Call your insurance broker. Tell them what happened and ask for their advice as well. They may have some really good advice sometimes, because all insurance claims sometimes are very similar and sometimes they're not. One. Also, mitigate as needed. What does that mean? So your insurance contract indicates that you have to take appropriate steps to stop more damage from happening. There's a leak in the roof. You probably have to get a tarp on there. If you don't put a tarp on there and more things come through, you might have problems. So you want to make sure that you mitigate. You may need an individual who knows. So you might need to talk to a public adjuster, right? And the Texas Association of Public Insurance Adjusters is a great resource, by the way. And then, so you're going to have to get estimates, right? You have to fix the problem in your home. When you just go with one estimate, a lot of times that's problematic. What I have seen folks who don't have attorneys have really good success in is when they get at least 2 and even better, 3 estimates. And typically those estimates are going to be kind of low, middle, and high. And almost all the time what I see is the insurance carrier will go somewhere in the middle, right? So make sure that you have a few estimates from the individuals who are going to fix your home. This gives the insurance carrier room to work with you, okay? And then send all estimates, photos, and receipts to your insurance carrier in a timely manner. Now, some folks have a really good luck and they have a really good insurance carrier and they're able to figure and work it out. If you're having some issues, a public adjuster is potentially another good way to go. They're not an attorney, and they will get a percentage of the claim when it comes through. But if you don't know what you're doing, it may very well be worth it. And if you're not having additional luck, you can always also go and get an attorney who will do just what the insurance adjuster, a public adjuster, is doing, and will help you, take care of your claim. But a lot of the smart folks who can be very practical, if some of the steps that I've went over, I have seen those work really, really well for individuals. And you can also mediate these claims as well. And it is the Texas Department of Insurance through whom you can request a mediation where insurance issues are involved. And a lot of good work gets done in mediation as well.
So, Tye, I was keeping track as you were talking, so I got the acronym DIME from what you said. So, document, inform, mitigate, and estimate. So document everything that's happened from the damages. Inform your insurance carrier, your insurance company about what's happened. Mitigate, make sure you put that tarp on the roof to make sure the damage doesn't get worse. and get the insurance adjuster involved if necessary. And finally, get estimates to make sure that you're going to get the best deal possible to fix anything. So if people just
I like that.
Remember,
that sounds like a pamphlet. Well done.
Remember DIME, you should be able to handle your next insurance claim with ease, especially one that might connect with a HOA. But Tye, I wanted to ask you, do you see a difference from if somebody has, say, a home versus a townhome versus a condo? Or is there anything different that you might point out?
Yeah.
Because those are different kinds of properties.
Yeah, that's a great question. There can be difference. For instance, off the top of my head, when you're dealing with a townhouse or a condominium, sometimes if something happens behind the wall, the insurance carrier is not liable for that. It's the HOA or something of that nature. And there can be other differences, by the way. So that's a great question, but I would put that question to your public adjuster and or your insurance attorney to really handle it with the kind of specificity that a homeowner needs, because there can be important differences in whether it's a home or whether it's a townhouse or whether it's a condo. And interestingly, on the Texas Association of Public Adjusters, I believe, and or the Texas Department of Insurance, they go through all of that. So somebody can go and you can read the FAQs and you can see the differences in those kinds of the way those issues are handled. But still, there's nothing like getting professional advice when dealing with these issues. When you go through it once, you're pretty good at dealing with it the second time. But who wants to go through these issues? And luckily or hopefully, you don't have to go through these issues. So being informed is really the best way to deal with these issues. And most folks don't, have the time, or it's nerve-wracking, it's stressful. And so maybe you want to go through a professional to help you deal with it in a timely manner as possible. Yes, a public adjuster is going to get a percentage of the claim, but you may not do so well if you do it on your own and wind up getting less money anyway. Get a professional to help you. That's really the best way to take care of everything. If after you speak with your insurance carrier, you're just not getting the kind of traction that you need, it just doesn't seem fair, if you see what I'm saying.
And Tye, I also want to know what you recommend when the claim is denied. I mean, you've done this DIME procedure with which we have just summarized, and thank you for that, Mac. And then you are actually not getting a dime because you are there with all the documents. Your claim is denied. What do you do? What's the most efficient way to fight further?
Yeah, it's a shame when that happens. Let's be honest, it happens. And it happens often enough. And when you're denied, unless you have been through that, that's specifically when you want to contact a public adjuster and when you want to speak with an attorney, in that regard. When you have a denied claim, what do you do? How do you go about turning that denial around? I've gone through those things, but I do this on a daily basis almost. And so it's easy for me to do it. But others, it's not so easy. Find a professional.
All right. So with that, Tye, thank you so much. And we'll be back. Legal Talk.
Natalia, thank you. That was great.
¿Quieres que tu negocio crezca y todo parece indicar que el camino es Estados Unidos? Te dijeron que abras una LLC para que no pagues impuestos, mas no tienes idea de cómo hacerlo. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años como empresario en Estados Unidos para que tú no te equivoques en los mismos errores que yo ya realicé. Sígueme en todas las redes sociales para que juntos conquistemos el mercado americano.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here to provide support and legal representation at no cost to you. Call us today at 713-221-3773.
¿Quieres que tu negocio crezca y todo parece indicar que el camino es Estados Unidos? Te dijeron que abras una LLC para que no pagues impuestos, mas no tienes idea de cómo hacerlo. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años como empresario en Estados Unidos para que tú no te equivoques en los mismos errores que yo ya realicé. Sígueme en todas las redes sociales para que juntos conquistemos el mercado americano.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Legal Talk. And so in our next segment, we're going to be having our colleague Fran Brochstein to talk to us a little bit about the aging process and how aging can come up in elder law, in elder care law. This is a big deal because we have an aging population in many parts of the world, especially in America, where the largest baby boomer population is beginning now to age, some of them into their 80s and 90s. And so care and how to take care of family, especially amongst children, comes up. And so how do we deal with these issues legally? So Fran, are you there? Talk to us a little bit about elder law.
Well, I like elder law because many times there's not any litigation pending, so that it can be used as a way to have the family members get together in a confidential place and civilly talk to one another instead of screaming at each other. And so I have done some of these, and there is no lawsuit pending. The family would like to avoid going into court. Sometimes the elder person is included, and sometimes it's the children. In fact, sometimes it's been the children and the grandchildren, because people are living into their hundreds now. And some of them live independent their entire lives, and yet other people, for whatever reason, need to be in a safe environment.
And Fran, I think that some of our viewers might actually wonder, why is it that you are having on Legal Talk a topic about the elderly people and how to do that? What does law say? What does mediation say? What does it have to do with businesses? And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking that so many businesses, which are family businesses, are also in the hands of generations. And then there is a time for generational change. And it's very difficult to deal with the seniors of a particular family to treat them with respect, but allow them to finish their career in the business and to enable it to transfer it into the new hands. What could you say about that? And how do you see a mediation in such a case would take place? What would it embrace? Who would be present?
Well, it could be very creative. I've taken elder mediation training, and so I would try to find a mediator that has taken the training. It's not that well known, and it's a way of being respectful. And many times the elder person talks slower or maybe moves slower, but it doesn't mean they're not competent and they're not still sharp as a tack. So I think sometimes people talk at each other, and bringing in a neutral, trained third party can be helpful in having everyone talk to one another in a respectful, caring, loving way. And so that the elder person does not feel like they're being thrown out and that they can transition, but they want to be respected. And I think that's very important. And that's where a mediator who's a neutral can help the family in this type of situation.
Yes, you know, Fran, the other day I was watching a 60-minute episode on television where they were talking about this pandemic of elderly people getting scammed online because they don't know how to use certain technology tools. You know, the kind of person who gets a scammer calling them, telling them that they can get a certain, you know, plan or investment put into their name or into a trust, and the person gets duped. Or the person who doesn't know any better, but somebody comes to their front door, knocks, and tries to sell them something. And so a lot of times, especially because of technology and the increase of it, a lot of times the elderly are victims to these kind of crimes and scams. So in your experience, when you're dealing with elder care and elder law, what are some things you try to help people consider when it comes to how their loved ones who are elderly might be taken advantage of, might get taken advantage of, especially through technology?
I took care of both of my parents until they passed, and I can assure you they both got scammed. And the problem was they didn't want to be a bother. And in both cases, I said to them, please be a bother. I'm here to help you. And my dad got scammed, and something told me one day to go by to his house and have lunch with him. Thank God I did, because the scammer was on the phone with him. And I said, Dad, who is that young man that called you? And he said, this nice young man calls me every day to see how I'm doing. And my dad had been a professor at University of Houston. He was a CPA. He was a banker. He retired many times. And he got scammed big time and lost a considerable amount of money. And it was a problem. And I am so thankful that I was able, that something told me to go have lunch with him one day. And again, I think that because I'm older, I can get away with more than maybe a younger mediator, because I've got my own gray hair. And so I can certainly sympathize with people that are older, and I can go slow and let them talk and show them the dignity that they have earned over the years. And so sometimes I've had to muzzle the kids to let their parents express themselves. And sometimes we just do the children and grandchildren and not have the elder person there. Many times it's a fight as to what is the next step in taking care of the elderly person.
Fran, thank you for that. And please tell me, because I believe, and this is how I understand the elderly mediation, this is a process that can engage the elderly person themselves, but sometimes it doesn't. And I can imagine that it doesn't embrace the elder person when, for example, the family is having a dispute how to properly take care of this very person. Who is going to bear costs? Is the nursery home the proper decision now? Do you help in such cases? What have you seen? What can you say? How to even approach this delicate and very painful topic?
It is. It's a very delicate topic, and the one I'm currently involved in, we took a recess, and everyone has a homework assignment. And a lot of it is sharing knowledge in a non-threatening way. Usually there's one dominant sibling that wants to be in charge, and what happens is that the siblings that live in the town are going to be more involved than the siblings that live across the world or across the country. That's where the Zoom mediations are wonderful, because we can get everybody on a Zoom call, no matter where they live in the world. And I tell people we're going to take our time and see what happens and do it in a very thoughtful manner. And then if the situation changes, which could happen, you come back and we'll work on the next topic.
Yeah. Fran, real quick, what are some benefits that you see to the mediation process and why people should do it when they're trying to handle these kind of issues? I know one big one that you discussed before is confidentiality, that what stays at mediation, what happens at mediation stays at mediation. So people can vent and get things off their chest because this is a safe place to do it without fear that it's going to go to the courtroom. So what are some other benefits as to why people should mediate?
Money is absolutely always most people are not multimillionaires. And the cost of some of these nursing homes, I have a friend that just put his mother in a nursing home. He is paying over $9,000 a month in Houston. And so, that is a lot of money. And a person could easily live, she's in her 80s, she could easily live another 20 years. And my father, for example, lived in a personal care home. He was the longest resident they ever had. He lived there 12 years. He had the best time. He did not want to die. He was having a wonderful time with all these women taking care of him. And so a lot of times, if you have what's it called, a beer budget, but you have champagne taste, you've got to reality test with the children because they could live another 20 years.
And this is a very important indication. This is why you need to think long term and you need to invent a long-term plan that will engage everybody to achieve the best solution. We're now talking about nursery, but I have seen so many things. And let me tell you an example, for example, where the mediation would be an absolutely perfect solution. There were two aging brothers. One of them was quite poor. The other one was living abroad and doing good, earning good money. And so the richer brother said, okay, I'll take care of you, but in exchange, you'll give me your apartment. So this elderly brother donated his apartment to his younger brother, again, aging, but for the exchange of him taking care of him as an elderly person, which of course didn't happen. So he was living in the apartment that was no longer his, and he was having difficulties with providing for his own needs. And he met some neighbors and friends who were trying to help him, and he wanted to repay the kindness, which then would mean that he would be, for example, sharing the apartment. But the apartment was no longer his. This man was desperate because he felt he's been cheated upon by his own brother. So before any of that happens, I think there is a space for legal advice before making any donation, because before making any promise to how we as people want to be taken care of in our future, in our elderly age. And with that, Fran, I want to thank you so much and invite us all for a short break.
¿Sueñas con vender tus productos o servicios en Estados Unidos? Pareciera muy difícil, mas no es imposible. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años de experiencia promoviendo productos latinoamericanos en el principal mercado del mundo. Si quieres aprender más, sígueme en todas mis redes sociales.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Welcome again after the short break. And in the final segment of today's episode, we want to continue on the topics of lawyers, but also something that can be interesting for business owners in terms of self-development. We're hosting our precious guest and friend, Brett Lovett, this time presenting his ideas within his FamilyReconcile.com project. And because Brett is concentrating on Family Reconcile, he's also helping other individuals through mentoring to reach the next levels of their proficiency, efficiency in business. Brett, it's great to have you with us. It's been great to review your website before we went on the show. I wanted to ask you, because we have already interviewed you on the term on sexual harassment prevention and on safe workplace conditions. Can you tell us what led you to have FamilyReconcile.com as a form of helping people, including lawyers and businessmen and businesswomen, to give more of themselves to the world?
Yeah, hi, Natalia, and thank you for asking that, and thank you for having me on the program, you and Mac, two very close friends of mine, so I appreciate the opportunity. You know, when people hear that I teach sexual harassment prevention and hostile work environment prevention in the workplace, and then they also hear that I have FamilyReconcile.com, or this program for reconciling really relationships, not just families, but really any relationship. At first, people may say, wow, those are real two, different things. Those are two distinct things. And really, with all due respect, they're not. Relationship reconciliation and or harassment or hostile work environment, issues in the workplace, they're really not that distinct. They're really closely connected because they're both, the dynamic that surrounds both is relational. So it may on the surface seem like they're two distinct things, like, wow, he's doing one thing over here and one thing over there, but it's not. They really are closely connected, and they're relational based. It's relational based work. It's behavioral based work. So it doesn't matter whether it's in the workplace, Natalia and Mac, or whether I'm helping an individual who's struggling in a relationship in their family or just a relationship in general. The dynamic is always the same. It's some sort of relational based matter. And so I find the work is very synergistic, and they actually complement each other quite well.
Brad, tell us about the mentoring kind of work that you do. So what do you mean when you say mentoring, and what are the components of your practice, if you will?
First of all, thank you for asking that. I think personally, and this is just my suggestion or my opinion, we'll call it that. I think the words mentoring and coaching, they get thrown around a lot, specifically coaching. You have business coaches, right? You have personal coaches, you have fitness coaches, you have developmental, organizational coaches. There's practically a coach for everything. I think we hear the word mentoring less than coaching. And I know in my case, it was with precision that I specifically do not mention coaching, or that's not what I'm providing here. There may be coaching aspects of what I do, but mentoring was a very precise term that needed to be involved with Family Reconcile. And the distinction is this, in layman's terms, coaching is very direct. So it's basically somebody saying, who has knowledge of how something should be done, here's how you should do this. And then they explain to somebody how that should be done. And then that person goes off and tries to implement what they've learned. That's coaching. Coaching is also, there's a power structure involved. Generally, there's a power structure involved. So a coach is not somebody that's on your same level. A coach is somebody who you look to for specific direction. Not so with mentorship. Mentorship is different on those two levels. Mentorship does not generally include a power structure. So what I liked about it is it takes people and puts them at the same level. And instead of being directive and telling somebody to go somewhere else or to go do something, what you're doing is you're transferring. So mentorship's about transferring skill sets, transferring knowledge, and then you go and do that thing. Once you transfer that knowledge, you go and do that thing with the person. So that's the difference. It's not here, pick this rock up and take it over there, and then this is what will happen. That's coaching. It's, hey, let's pick this rock up together. We're going to try and go over there, and then this is probably what's going to happen, but we're going to do it together. So that's the reason for the precision of understanding the difference between mentoring and coaching. Not that that's the exhaustive understanding of it, but that's in layman terms, some things that make one distinct from the other.
Brett, what is the actual meaning and reason why lawyers and businessmen and businesswomen should look for mentoring, should look for your help? What can it bring to themselves as people? What can it bring to their business? What can it bring most importantly to their clients? How they grow, how they develop via mentoring you offer.
Yeah, good question. Appreciate that question as well too. Again, this is my opinion and nothing more. I would think a wise person, any wise person, would want to seek out mentorship. There's wisdom in knowing that we don't have all the answers and we don't always know the way and we don't always know what's best. There's wisdom in that. Also humility and modesty and other things. Other qualities we talked about in years past. So a person should, I would think a wise, intellectual person would want to seek out mentorship because they become a better person because of someone else. So it's not that people need to seek me out because I'm, some sort of person that knows all the answers, but it's really seeking out anybody that you feel is the right fit for what it is you're trying to improve on. That could be personal improvement, right? What we'll call personal development, working on interpersonal qualities. You could seek a mentor out for that. You can seek mentors out in business. Maybe there are qualities that we need to learn so that we can be better at what it is that we already do. And maybe we do it really well, but maybe we might be better at that. So we seek out a mentor to work with us on that. And again, the difference is, as opposed to coaching and mentoring, is that the mentoring, a distinct difference between mentoring and coaching is the transference of skills, a transfer of skills. So if skill sets and acquiring skill sets is what you're looking for, whether it's in your personal life or whether it's in your business life, to improve personally or to improve in your business, then mentorship is something that you should seek out.
So, Brad, give us a practical. So what does it look like for when somebody comes to you and they want to be mentored? Just take us through the basic, typical scenario that someone's going to encounter. How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? What method? Is it on video only, in person? What does it look like?
So I can give you, thank you for asking that too. I can give you what it is from Family Reconciles model, which is a model we created ourselves. Our model is set at 6 months. Why 6 months? Could it have been a year? Yes. Could it have been shorter? Yes. 6 months seems to be, based on the research, the amount of time that would be needed, really at the very least, to make a positive impact on somebody's life. Meaning you need to spend the first part of mentorship building rapport and trust. You don't just get right in and start saying, I'm going to transfer this and here, look at this and do this, and we're going to, whether you're doing it together or not. There needs to be some sort of rapport and trust that's built. That takes a little bit of time. Once that foundation of rapport and trust is built, well, then real connections can start to be made between the mentor and the mentee. And that's where the real development starts. So this is very personalized work. The Family Reconcile model is a 6-month model, but it's a daily model, what we call daily intentional model. So it's primarily virtual. It can be done in person, but it is primarily virtual. There are little intentions, 5 to 7 minute intentions that are given to a person on a daily basis. This is 7 days a week for 6 months. And those daily intentions require you to set aside anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes at least, but it could be more depending on what you want to do. But we're asking for 5 to 10 minutes out of somebody's day and for them to primarily write down the intention. They're to take a picture of that and they can upload it into our portal. We have a nice online portal. I check that intention. I look at it and then I engage or choose to engage, not all the time, but sometimes I may engage a person further by email. And we do that in a very systematic way over 6 days. On the 6th day, we do a review for the week. And on the 7th day, depending on when a person starts their model, on the 7th day, there's a 45-minute to 1 hour live virtual session, mentoring session. So they're working on something 6 days a week. And then the 7th day is really a review of that, what was learned, what can be improved. And then we start that whole process over again. On the 2nd week, we do that for 6 months. That's what the Family Reconcile model is built on. So we call them daily touches. So it's not once a week. The traditional therapy, traditional counseling models once a week or maybe once or twice a month. This is daily for 6 months. And I think that's why we see in the long run, why we see the transformational results that we do in people. And we're talking about people dealing with addictions, dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, a number of things that have caused them to lose connection with somebody that they love or care about, and they want to reestablish that connection. And what I would probably finally say is most people come to us with a story about why some sort of connection has been broken, and they're generally telling us, the reasons why. And if they do come to be a part of the Family Reconcile family and do the Family Reconcile model, what they find is that we don't even deal with the relationship reconnection until maybe halfway through the program, because most of the work is about us personally. So success doesn't depend on whether we can reconcile somebody's relationship. The success is there on whether or not we can reconcile a person to themselves. Once we reconcile ourselves to ourselves, then we can move out from there and start to reconcile or attempt to reconcile other relationships. I think that's the key. I think it's a key factor that most people don't realize if they come through our program.
Brett, thank you so much for that. I understand that you can be reached with the data on the screen. So it was familyreconcile.com and your email info@familyreconcile.com. Thank you so much. It's always important to have you to explain that success starts also with ourselves and how we approach lives. And with that, I would really want to thank you for all the impact you're making on us and our viewers, and thank our viewers as well. And we'll see each other, the viewers, you, in the next episode.
This has been a Now Media television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
¿Eres licenciado, ingeniero, abogado o enfermero? ¿Biólogo, agrónomo, veterinario o contador? ¿Administrador, mercadólogo o economista? ¿Te gustaría tener una oportunidad para trabajar de manera remota para empresas estadounidenses o incluso emigrar? En The US Marketer estamos buscando oportunidades para mexicanos con estas carreras. Si quieres aprender más, visita nuestra página para más información.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
Hey, this is Michael Rager, the host of Biz Talk TV with Michael Rager. Make sure you join us every day, 5 p.m. Central Time on all Now Media channels and social.
Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world.